Haven't I? Can you all hear me now? Yeah. Okay. So, it's kind of appropriate that I'm going last because there's been a lot of discussion about the production of food, but uh, I'm a volunteer with Waste into Wellbeing, which is a Kendal-based food waste charity, and you know, regardless of how the food has been produced and grown and flown and packaged and everything like that, unfortunately, a lot of it is still getting wasted, particularly at the home, in the home, but also from, you know, supermarkets, businesses, cafes, and so on. So Waste into Wellbeing in Kendal, we really are trying to reduce food waste in the Kendal area. We take donations from supermarkets, businesses, local allotment growers and people just growing stuff in their own gardens, and food producers, and we redistribute that. Usually, particularly from supermarkets, a lot of it will be food that's past its sell by date but not its use by date. So it's all, you know, perfectly good food, but it is going to go in the bin if we're not intercepting it and redistributing it. It'll be things like fruits, veg, bread, cakes, dried and tin goods as well. Sometimes I can't even see any discernible reason why it's being thrown away, but it is. So it's nice that we get to kind of redistribute that out to other people. Now, obviously, because of COVID, we have had to change the way we operate, but I'll just talk a little bit about what we were doing and then how we've adapted to the kind of coronavirus situation. So there's sort of two prongs, really. There's the hub, which is our building next to Kendal County Hall on Busher Walk. That's where we store our food. We inventory it, sort it and store it, and then redistribute it from there. Some of it will go to Sandylands and Kirkbarrow Residents Association, some to Hallgarth Community Centre, Manor House, Kingsbank. Sometimes we do swaps with Growing Well over at Sizer Castle, and some of it will go to our Kendal People's Cafe. And then, yeah, so the other prong is Kendal People's Cafe, which was running, it was running every week, I believe, every Saturday, but it kind of dropped down to twice monthly at the South Lakes foyer next to the bus station. I mean, between 2018 and 19, they did 5,000 meals, like over 5,000 meals. It's pretty amazing. And also some of our food goes to the NHS Lunch Bunch scheme, which is vulnerable and socially isolated elderly residents. Once a month, we kind of cook up, or used to cook up, a 3-course meal for them to kind of all get together and have a nice chat and some good food. So they, you know, there's kind of that social element to that as well. Because of the lockdown, obviously we had to change a bit. So we decided to go with a kind of pre-packed lucky dip bag model of groceries to try and avoid people from kind of handling things and putting them back, and to try and speed up the process of people collecting the food. So we had 3 weekly food shares. There was one at Outside Inn, Salvation Army, and Hallgarth Community Centre. Most of it was still food waste, but we did get some bought donations from Morrison's because they had some money available to us. Normally we would try to stick just purely to food waste, but under the circumstances, we felt that it was needed to help us kind of consolidate our supply and keep a few things going. We did also have some additional items from fresh produce, from people's allotments, and from Growing Well at Sizer. Their cafe wasn't open, so their garden was still churning out loads of stuff, and we were able to redistribute that to kind of local residents to use as well. So, I mean, we haven't managed to collate all the figures together, but between March and June, we did share over 1,500 bags with local people, and our food shares only paused last week, so we were running pretty much from the start of lockdown up until last week, and it's only because we've moved to Strickland Gate House that we've had this little pause. I was directly involved in the Hallgarth Community Centre because I live in Hallgarth, in their food share. And kind of anecdotally, and also just my own kind of feeling about the impact it was having, it really was amazing, particularly because we had all that lovely weather during lockdown. People are queuing in a socially distanced way. They were all kind of chatting, having this kind of weekly catch up. People were collecting bags for their neighbours. Again, speaking to people, trying to kind of get a grasp on what was the food actually just going into their bin, or was it being used? But people were passing food on from the bags to other neighbours if they knew that that neighbour liked a particular thing. So it was really kind of had this social impact, as well as reducing the amount of food waste that was going on. People really liked the lucky dip kind of aspect of it as well. It was sort of like the end of Ready Steady Cook, when you kind of open your bag out and decide what you're going to make. And also we were kind of encouraging people to, oh, 1 more minute.
Yeah, less than
anyway, so all right, okay. Anyway, so yeah, we were encouraging people to cook as well, because we'd have maybe rhubarb coming from someone's allotment. You'd have people grabbing it and going, oh, rhubarb crumble, not had that for a while. So plans for the future, as I say, we've moved premises. We're hoping to continue with the food shares, NHS Lunch Bunch. They've been driving around and delivering meals to the elderly residents rather than getting them together. And then ultimately, we would like to not have to exist. Obviously, a bit of a dream thing, but we would like to use our food shares and the People's Cafe as a place to sort of re-educate people about how to reduce food waste in their home, how to use all of a food product, different recipes, how to store food correctly, how to shop more effectively, things like that. So yeah, it's not, we would ultimately like to reduce it down to a certain point that it didn't exist.